What up, y'all? It's the King. I'm here at Nudies. Y'all know this is my favorite spot. And I want to talk about the old self. So stay locked in. So yeah, y'all. Good morning. It's the 31st, right? Yeah, the last day of August. Fall is upon us. A new season. Summer was fun. I can't front. It was challenging, but I had a great time. I had a great summer. I'm not even gonna say act like I did. But as y'all know, I did a video about alignment, and in response to some people that were, chattering and running off at the mouth and shit like that. And people are, well within their right to feel how they feel about whatever they want to feel, how they feel about. You can't let it affect you. You can't let it get in the way of your swerve, because your story is your story. I hope y'all can really hear me, because my other phone that I usually record on, it died. And that's the phone I got. Well, it's getting ready to die, so I'm 5%. I forgot to charge it last night. I was out partying and acting like a crazy ass. But anyways, people are gonna think, feel, and try to say anything that they can to get you to feel like you need to change your stance on how you feel about, the experiences that you've had, things that you've done, and all of this shit, right? And at the end of the day, none of us are sitting here with a perfect hand, so you take it all with a grain of salt. It's like a liar telling you not to be a liar. Now, I'm a lie all I want if that's what I want to do, right? Because we all are guilty of this particular trait. So it got me to thinking about my old self and the things that I did put up with, right? Like, the old me would have definitely, succumb to that pressure of not, hey, how you doing? Thank you. Can I have some jelly and ketchup and all that stuff? Thank you. Got my omelet, y'all. The old me would have succumbed to the pressure of somebody telling me I shouldn't say that, or what I'm saying is wrong, and blah, blah, this is that, and the third. And that's what showed me, I really have stepped into the alignment of who I am, you know what I mean? Getting back to who I am as a person, and not worrying about, the outside noise and all of that stuff, and what people are going to think and say about how I feel about how I'm living my life, right? Because everybody's always going to have something to say. But the old self, the thing about the old self is, I think we look at it from a standpoint of a bad thing. It's not always bad. Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect. Apple jelly. Thank you. I love apple jelly, y'all. But the old self is, in my estimation, right, needed. And I say this because, I understand that there could be people going through these battles, feeling like nothing they do is right, or they can't catch a break no matter what it is that they try to do. And it's not always you got the kids walking by. It's not always the worst situation to go through these things, because what I've learned is that it's teaching you through these experiences, whether it's you being timid, not feeling like you want to say what's really on your mind based on the certain circumstances, feeling like things will get better if you just, continue in that energy, but just continue to be nice and continue to just be humble, things of that nature, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth. I'll give you an example. I used to work with my brother, and I would do anything for my brother at one point. That ship has sailed with the old version of me. But I had to experience him having the opposite energy from me in the same aspect of it, in business and things like that. I used to work with my brother, and he always used to look at me from a standpoint of he's never been as successful as me in business with the business that he currently does, right? And not for nothing. I'm not knocking him or trying to make it seem like he's less than because of that. But he's watched me be successful in business. So when it comes to business, trying to help him out, it's always going to come with like a slight of resentment, because nobody really wants you to be better than them at what they do, which is kind of insane, because I only want people around me that are better than me, or on my level or better than me, that can make me sharper, right? Even from the standpoint of the people that he has around that works for him and stuff like that, all second-rate people, shit like that. My grandfather was like that too, would run businesses and have second-rate people in there, because these are people that you can bullshit around and not really pay and things of that nature. So everything is good, and thank you. So the version of me that I had to be, the old self, and I'm just using him as an example because this example goes for so many situations and people in my life, whether it be past relationships, family, business, all these things. Like, who you are at your highest is more so, because life is a mirror, right? So it more so brings to the light for people all of the things that they didn't accomplish or didn't go after. So it's not really personal. So we may look at it like, life just ain't fair, or life just keeps picking on me and shit like that. And it's not really a personal thing, because you're there to be a mirror. And a mirror works both ways, right? It definitely shows you as a person what it is that you're lacking, as well as the person that you're mirroring at any particular time, right? And I would always wonder, it's things that he'll do for other people that he won't do for me. And I'm his brother. I would fucking, my favorite saying, run through a brick wall for him. He never gave me that same energy back. So I was talking to my mom, like last week. We were just chopping it up, blah, blah, blah. And my mom, like when I was going through this, me and her was having our little, misunderstandings. And one thing about her, I didn't realize it in the beginning because of the old self. She was trying to cling. She was trying to cling to that version of me in a way, right? And I was having to make it absolutely clear to her that that version of me is gone. So we were talking last week. And she asked me, she said, "Do you miss your family?" And I said, "No. I don't have any bad feelings towards them, or anybody that I've dealt with in the past, whether it be family, old friends, things of that nature. Because I don't feel bad or want any malice towards these people. I may say some choice things about people, because it is what it is. If I think you a sucker, I think you a sucker. If I think you a hoe, I think you a hoe. If I think you a bitch, I think you a bitch. It just is what it is, but that don't mean I want bad for you. That's just my perception of you based on my interaction with you, right?" So she, she asked me, did I miss my family? And I said, no. And she said, well, why not? And I said, because the version of me that I had to be, for them to be comfortable with me being around, had to die. He had to go, right? But even with that being said, because all of us go through death and rebirth while on this journey, it is what it is, especially as Scorpios, we are death and rebirth, so. But at the same time, people will look at it like it was a bad thing being that version of yourself. But that version of yourself had to be able to survive so that the new version of who you are could live. So, with that being said, I'm here to live. And I don't really mourn the old version. I'm thankful for the old version though, very much so. So, I'm just here to say, you may be still in that transition of, leaving the old behind to become the new version of who you are, right? And it's scary, it's isolating. You got to spend a lot of alone time, and people will start looking at you very differently, but that's it, right? Because you're becoming who you are. and people have accepted this altered version that the world has turned you into through all the rules and regulations and people telling you stop acting like this and start acting like that and blah blah blah. Like everybody's trying to tell you how to be. Meanwhile, nobody had figured this shit out at the end of the day. So just be very gentle with yourself in that old version, because it's a very, like, there's a purpose for it. There's a purpose for the old version. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself. I know a lot of people going through it and they just be so just hell-bent on problems. Problems have solutions, and sometimes problems are solutions. So as long as you keep that in mind, you'll be fine. But shout out to the old version of me. He was a cool nigga. He did a lot of cool shit too. That's the crazy part. The old version of me was lit. That's why I know this new version is going to be 10 times greater, or is 10 times greater. I'm already seeing it. I'm already having fun. I'm already turned up. And there ain't nothing nobody can do about this version. That version would take other people's words into consideration. You can't tell this version nothing, like on some Kanye shit. But anyways, I'm gonna finish my breakfast, y'all. You know, just day in the life. I'll talk to y'all later.